Your time is now to become a champion of your real estate brand. Are you ready?
Welcome to the stage. It's your moment to shine. Level up your game. Success is on the line. Okay. Your time is now to become a champion of your real estate brand. Are you ready? Let's go. The Champions Podcast starts now.
So, where'd you guys go for lunch, Ian?
We went to a local Chinese place. It was nice.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
One of those places where you walk in and they like know everything that you want already. They're like,
That's
oh, hi,
awesome.
Ian, you want this and this and this? I'm like, yeah, okay.
It's so strange for
Perfect.
me to think of, so strange for me to think of Chinese place in Spain, but why not?
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I was at a great Chinese restaurant in Ireland one time, and so that was a unique experience.
Well, it's kind of normal for me because so Jason, just to give you an idea, Birgit might already know this, I don't know. British cuisine is Chinese food, Indian food, kebabs, which are Turkish food, and beer, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
So yeah, that consists of British. That's what British food is. It's
Okay.
food from everywhere else.
that's probably true. And while I was over there, I did not try any of their their more authentic dishes like haggis or
Traditional
something like
stuff.
that. I'm like, I don't think I need to be eating haggis. It's fine.
Well, you know what's cool? Haggis has been was banned in the US from like the 70s because it contains certain ingredients that they
Yes,
don't see fit to feed humans. I know it's
exactly.
something.
Yep.
But
Well, that's
after
like
the
border.
World Cup, yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say after the World Cup, the Scottish fans being in Boston have got on so well with everyone there, that they've actually signed in government to make haggis legal again in Boston,
Oh, really?
which is crazy. And they've also twinned Boston with Glasgow City in Scotland. So that's cool. It's wherever the Scottish fans go, they call them the Tartan Army. Wherever the Tartan Army goes, they're so
Yeah.
well received. We're very respectful. If they like last year, it was the Euros in Germany. And Germany received us the same very well. We left a very good impact on everyone, and it was awesome. So yeah, haggis is now legal in Boston, Jason. If you're
So
ever up
wherever
for
you
trying
guys
something
go, the
new.
haggis will follow.
We will.
Yeah.
We'll add it to our list when you're here, Ian. We're going to Boston for haggis.
No, I'm not.
Uh,
I will come
we're
to
go we're
Boston, but not for
we're
the haggis.
going. Yeah, we're going to go to a Cubs game and a wrestling event so far. So yeah,
Yes. Gonna be a
we're
crazy week. It's gonna be
I'll join for the beer, but not for the haggis.
all right. Deal,
yes.
deal. Hey, you only live once, you know. That's awesome. Well, good. Well, happy last day of school to the kids. So yeah, this is where it gets exciting because yeah, it's kind of been my MO for the last 3, 4 weeks as my kids have been out, and it's that shift, right? They're home, they're off schedule, I'm off schedule. So it's a lot of discipline to stay true to as well. So get ready for that in the upcoming weeks. So stay strong, keep working out, keep adhering to your calendar, nonetheless too. And what else you guys got going on? Excitement wins this week? Anything amazing in your world?
I have so personally, I've had three listing appointments this week.
Oh,
Two of
nice.
them I'll I'll take. I'll get. One of them I won't take on because it's overpriced. It's not worth it. It's not going to sell. So there's no point. But I did just ask that in my champions organization here, and a few of them got back to me. Yeah, so this is really interesting actually, and it's something that's never really happened before within my organization here. So one of them got a listing, which I think they were in direct competition with one of their own agents. in the same area. So it's like two agents in the same town,
Yep.
and they were both fighting for the same listing. So one of the better producers got the listing, and they were talking about it in the group, not in a like cynical way or in a bad way at all. It was all okay. It was like, okay, more collaboration. I wasn't bothered whether you or I got it, whatever, it's cool. But it's the first time that I've actually seen that the organization has agents within the immediate area of work of another agent, and it's kind of created this little competition between them, uh, which is interesting. But people are making moves. I will say that the market is shifting big time here in Spain. I think also in the US. There's a lot less listings than there were last year, but the demand is still there. Um, so we're starting to see a bunch more agents struggle, I think. Maybe
Mm.
newer agents, maybe agents that aren't used to having to adapt to new markets. And that's what I'm seeing at the moment anyway, this week.
You
Yeah.
have them call me. I'll help them figure it out.
Well, that's what a coach does, so that's a good point.
Yeah, for real. That's a great step one. Even, if there's a Spanish barrier or whatever, figure that out. But no, I love that, coach. Um, it's one with this market. I'm using um the analogy. I don't even know. Sorry, my brain's I'm not even halfway through my coffee, so bear with me. Um, this year, it's like, I've said we've been stretched, and it's almost like a rubber band, right? Like it's coming, it'll go back, you get a couple deals going. It's like, all right, cool. But then it's like, oh, I got to stretch some more. I got to stretch more. And does the rubber band keep stretching? Does it snap? Does it go back? What's going on with that rubber band? And this is, I think, we're looking at the end of June. We're mid to end June, so we're coming up on second half of the year. And this is where I know, Ian, you've been down a little bit. You mentioned finances to me. Birgit's been there. I've been there this year. We're all facing that. But I'm looking at my rev share board, and
Yeah.
I see, I was looking because rev share came out yesterday, which that was a good win. Um,
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned, Ian, it's a little down. So I'm looking at projections. Um, what we just got's usually pretty good, and then our next one's usually a pretty good check. And then we trickle down and we kind of go up and down and up and down and up and down for the rest of
Yeah.
the year. So this is where I like tracking things because now we can see what's pretty much coming. And we're
Mhm.
gonna somewhat follow that trend, but then we're also gonna see this market where, just like you said, agents are struggling. We're seeing less listings. We're not we're losing out on some of these and whatnot. So that's where we got to look at as leaders to help these guys. And really in August, October, I'm just going to say December. August, October, December. It's every other month coming up. We dip and then we come back up and then we dip again. We come back. And this is the whole organization. All right. And
Yeah.
this is just based off of revenue share. So I know everyone's going to face that. And I know, Coach, you and I have talked about like competition stuff. Um, what needs to happen in September, October, December, so everything spikes positive. That's where I want to challenge you guys as leaders. And then I'm going to open it up after this. But Ian, real fast to you on that competition piece with the two agents. At the same time, that's a win, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you've got two agents looking at one property. That's good. What happens when you have five? It's like, oh wow, all right. Hey, everyone's being active, everyone's getting out there. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure, yeah, how you see it, if you're taking it more as a win, or it's that competition, but it may be friendly competition, which is awesome too.
Mhm. Little friendly fire never hurts.
Yeah, friendly fire. I like that.
Yeah,
And
that's it. That's how I'm seeing it. It's funny because the agent that's creating competition for one of the other agents is first tier of the, how does this make sense? Okay, so two of the agents that are in competition with each other, one of them is my tier two, one of them is my tier three. The tier three is under my tier two. So they're
Mm,
like in the same organization anyway. So technically, either way, financially, it's a win-win for me, but it's not always about the financial side of it, it's about the people side of it. And I think at the end of the day, they came into the same organization knowing that rather than competition, it's more of a collaboration piece. So now that one of them has the listing, they know that they can bring buyers to that listing
Mhm.
directly a lot easier because they're already in contact, they're already within the part of the same organization. So it's totally a win-win for all of us at the end of it. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and I think too, just to speak on the agents and the market, I think we have to remember that we are in such an incredibly fluid business, yet we always want to insist that everything should stay the same, and then we get thrown when it isn't. So be versatile, learn both the listing side and the buyer side so you can move with the market because, you see it time and time again. You have people that are really great buyers agents, and then the market shifts, and suddenly they don't know what to do, vice versa. So really learn this business as much as you can, so you can pivot with it when you need to, and keep your foot on the gas. If the market slows down, we have to have more conversations. Bottom line, that's the only way to make that trade-off. And we see it all the time. 2024, when I did productivity contests for United on a national level, we were between 80 and 120 conversations to get to a closing because how
Wow.
crazy the market was. And I was like, US nationwide. So, you have to be able to move with the market,
Yep.
instead of the market running away, be in the market, be in that market and know how to pivot when those signs start coming around and you start getting the first inklings that something is going to shift.
Agreed. And I think that was perfectly said with the buyer seller piece, especially here in the United States. That's where I think part of me, I was very listing heavy, and it is. You've got a lot more buyers this year that
Mhm.
are out there looking. Um, but that wasn't my focus. So that's where I'm just like, oh man, I'm months behind, right? So now I'm trying to catch up with some buyers and then sprinkle them together. Um, and you could stay a little bit more focused on a listing, but I was like extreme, one-sided on listings, and that's where I think I burnt myself too.
Well, you wanted
And
to build something different this year too. You were trying to move more in a certain kind of niche market as far as that. And then so we
yep.
think that's what we want for the year. And then here comes the year and it shows us something completely different. And if we don't, if we insist on, no, this is the way it's going to be, well, then yeah, we're going to crash and burn on it.
Yep. Yep, totally. And Ian, you mentioned too, just like with some of those agents out there, so you guys could still bring a buyer, even like if you have a listing, then Maria, whoever, can bring a potential buyer to you. Now,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
okay, go
mhm.
ahead.
No, so it is way more, the real estate sector here has always been way more listing focused than it has buyer focused. So like being a buyer's agent was never really a thing until recent times. Recent being, I don't know, the last few
Interesting.
years. I would say the last maybe two specifically for, especially for EXP here in Spain. It's not something that people have ever really pursued that I've met or seen before. But the good thing, that situation in particular was they're in the same town. They're taking on like the same kind of listings anyway. So the database of buyers that they have are for properties in that area specifically. So it just makes sense for them to work together. Um, but what we are seeing more of, and this isn't just in my area or within my organization, this is more in Spain in general, is what they call the personal shopper contract, which is basically just a buyer's agent. So somebody pays you to find them a home,
Mhm.
which was never really a thing here, which is kind of more normal over there. You
Hmm.
work with a realtor. They'll take you on a weekend and they'll take you to a bunch of houses or whatever. That was never really a thing here, but it is now. So it is more common,
Do you have a
which is
contract
good
on
to
that?
see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they have they're calling it the personal shopper contract, which is a contract where basically you're in agreement with a buyer, the buyer saying that this agent is going to find me a home. Because what typically happens is if I wanted to buy a home in Spain, I would just go online and look at a bunch of different listings with a bunch of different agents or agencies and find one that suits my needs. It would never occur to anyone to go to an estate agent and say, I want to buy this kind of home because the agents were always for sellers, never for buyers.
Right.
But which is a good thing on one hand, which means we're opening up to a new market. It means we can offer the service to buyers, which is cool. But on the other hand, buyers have never had to pay an agent's fee because it was always split by the seller's fee. So
Hmm.
if I had a buyer, another agency had the listing, I would say, hey, I have a buyer for this property. We arrange the viewing, we do the viewing, everything's okay. We sell. The listing agent splits the commissions with me. I don't charge the buyer anything, nothing. That's how
Yep.
we've always worked in this specific area anyway. But now we're seeing a little bit more of a shift to where people actually charge the buyer for the service provided, which in my opinion is completely fair. I mean,
Yeah.
we've done so
Wow.
much work
Yeah.
for buyers and sometimes the sale doesn't go through and we make nothing. It's like, wow, that was
Wow, that's
time wasted,
crazy.
but yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, that's kind of liking it back to us, post NAR, how many years ago. I mean, for us, it was always like that really that should be communicated, just wasn't. And then with that NAR lawsuit some years ago, we now really have to communicate that with our buyers. So, that technically is the buyer's responsibility to pay the buyer's agent. Oof, that has definitely thrown some wrenches
Yeah.
into it. And that sounds like you guys are going through something similarly, but just trying to shift on how that compensation piece should look like.
Yeah, it's a shift, but it's a shift just between agents. It's not because we're not regulated here, there is no NAR. So it's just something that some agents are going to say, oh, I'm going to charge my buyer, and some agents aren't. The
Mm.
buyer
Yeah.
can turn around and say, I'm not paying you any commission, and then the agent's like, well, shit, I don't know what to do now. Like, is this like, I don't know. Like, is they're kind of like caught in the middle of this thing where it's not regulated, but they're doing a service. So what happens now? It's kind of it's a difficult situation, but
That's crazy.
that's
Why would I want to be a buyer's agent? Obviously,
exactly
that
that's the
wasn't really
thing.
like a thing anyway. So,
Exactly. It wasn't a thing. It's starting to become a thing now
Mhm.
very slowly, but I like I said to Jason multiple times, my purpose now in Spain, I don't know how, but is to somehow regulate the real estate industry so that we have no issues with these kind of things.
Hmm.
So that we know that the agents that are working in the industry are regulated, that they know what they're doing, they hold a professional standard. Because right now, anyone can sell real estate,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
literally anyone and their dog. So it's
Sam
it's
can
kind of
sell real
crazy. Like
estate?
All right, that's
Sam could
cool.
Sam could sell real estate. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's put that face out there.
Yeah. That'll be better than my
You,
face, so
you
maybe.
should you should take a picture. You should take a picture of Sam and say, "Hey, in Spain, he can sell you real estate, or you could choose me. Your
Yeah,
choice."
yeah, yeah.
Be a great ad. Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I want to see it. Yeah, that's your challenge. Um, so I was gonna ask too, so like with how Spain is regulating, so obviously you guys are making this shift, which is a great position. I mean, obviously, I've gotten to know the Spain market over the last 5 years, just being friends with you, Ian. And so you're making this transition now with that buyer's piece. Can you, if you had a buyer to another listing. It's not your listing, it's somebody else's. Can you still request that that listing agent pay your commission and not charge your buyer?
Yeah, you can still, I think you can still request it. So I think it's difficult for me to answer that because I work, if you look at Spain, it's split up in different regions and different provinces within those regions. You can look
Okay.
at it like states within the US. So depending on where you are, it's already normal to charge the buyer. So I would charge, if it was my listing, I'd be charging 3%, for example, to the seller. And if I get the buyer, I'd also be charging 3% to the buyer. So that's 6%
Right,
total over the
right.
sale. Where I am, that doesn't happen. It's always been the seller. So I would charge 3% to the seller. And if that's in collaboration with another agent, that means I get 1.5, they get 1.5.
Mm,
But I have had times where I have collaborated with another agent. I have paid them half of my commission, and I swear that they were also charging their buyer. But there's no way of me actually confirming or knowing that.
mm,
So, um, I think it happens, and there's also listing agents that when another agency or agent gets in touch with them saying, "I have a buyer for your listing," they'll tell them straight up, "You charge your buyer, I charge my client. If that's not how you work, I don't share commission." So they're
mm.
like straight up saying that the commission, like we
How
don't
how do
share.
you feel? How do you feel about that?
So for me, in the market that I know where I have learned to work, where we always charge the seller, the buyer never gets charged. For me, I don't see that right because everybody should share everything because otherwise nobody make well, not that nobody makes money, but we would make more money if people just shared everything.
Mhm.
But that being said, again, I have worked with buyers for months to get this particular listing, which I was going to share with the listing agent, and then something happened, the sale didn't go through, and like nothing was made of it. And that's because I didn't charge my buyer up to a certain point. So I'm kind of mixed feelings on it. I'm an agent that shares with everyone. I don't care how little amount of money I make. The goal at the end of the day is to make the client they make the client so happy that they bring me more clients.
Sure.
All right,
So
let me
yeah,
pause there. And I get that, and I'm not disputing that. We do want to be there for the client, but you're also running a business,
a business,
right?
yeah.
And I'm going to take a little bit more personal. You told me, hey, finances are tight right now, right?
Mhm. True.
So with this, I mean, why not get out of your own way in an essence and say, hey, this is what I charge. And and
Mhm.
and even if it's more than that one and a half, so to speak, on the 3%, right? That you're making more because you're doing a lot more of the legwork. And because what if that buyer's agent is double dipping and taking half of yours and still charging their buyers 2%, 3%, whatever number that is?
Yeah.
How fair is that? That's not fair either if they're not being upfront with you. So I understand where your heart is, Ian. And I've gotten to know you over the last 5 years, and I love you. And I know where it is, but this is where I don't want to see you struggle financially. I don't want to see any of us struggle financially, right? So I don't want your
Yes.
own ego to get in the way to say, hey, I shouldn't run this way. And that's why I asked, how do you feel about it? And I know you've got mixed reactions or mixed feelings, however you want to say it. So
Yeah.
that's where, what if you did change it that way? Or I don't know, in Spain, can you say, hey, seller, I charge 3%, and then if a buyer's agent comes, you only give them 1% and you still take two. I don't know if that's possible.
So uh it depends on so many different things. So it's not for lack of trying. So I have s said to buyers before viewings or whatever, This is the process, this is how things work, this is the commission for the buying process, whatever else.
Hmm.
Because the buyers in this, it depends where they're from. If they're from this area, they know that the buyers don't pay.
Mhm.
So I'll actually have the clients tell me, what are you talking about, agency commission? The buyers don't pay agency commission here. So they actually know that that's a thing. Whether they think it's fair or not doesn't matter. If they can not pay it, they'll obviously be happier because they save money. But um, the good thing about that is the market that I'm in specifically, over 50% of my clients are from the north of Europe, and they're usually okay paying a buyer's fee as well.
Yeah, it sounds like you're
So
running across an existing model there that's been well established and hasn't shifted yet or enough yet.
yes, if I was a buyer, a first-time buyer, for example, in my market, I would not be taking into account an agency commission for the purchase of my home.
Mhm.
That's just what this, and that's the
Mhm.
majority in this place.
Well, and you don't have any backing as far as the legal, like we have NAR when we
Nothing,
change, right? And so
nothing.
that's your holdup too, that you have zero backing. Because when NAR changed us, I tell every buyer, this is how we have to do real estate now. Everybody works on
Yeah,
contract, and
yeah,
I have to be upfront with what I charge on the buy side.
yeah.
So because here's what I do on the buy side. Since 2024 here in the United States, NAR changed that. I charge my buyer clients 3.25%. The thing what I do when I write an offer, I do ask for the seller to pay my commission, but I'm only asking 3% because that's the norm, right? So I'm still asking that. At the end of the day, the buyers are still paying me 0.25%. They still have stake in the game. They've got money. They need to understand that, hey, and it almost goes, Coach, you'll test to this too. It's almost like that, hey, if they pay for it, they'll be more serious. Just like your
Mhm.
coaching
Oh yeah,
program. Just like
oh yeah.
anything, they'll have stake in the game instead of it being free. Um, and that's where I'm running my business. I want it to be financially smart for me and my family. I want to still give amazing service, and that's where I pride myself on that. And whether it's a buy or a sell side, I want to bring that value. I want to bring that higher level. And that's where I charge it. And it was funny because I have a listing, and we got an offer on it, which was awesome. And we were only 10 grand off. We weren't far off, right? And I told him, I said, hey, and this is even before I told him the price. I said, listen, we have an offer and it's workable. I want you to keep those two things as we go into this offer because I knew he wasn't going to be happy about the $10,000
Mhm.
difference. So we start breaking it down and he just starts crumbling after everything. He's like, these numbers aren't going to work. These numbers aren't going to work. And I'm going to run math, right? I'm going to do the math so it does work. Like
Mhm.
I'm going to do my job. And this is what I love about it is doing the math. And so he's like, no, no. And then he goes to the buyer's commission and they requested 3%. He said, what if we just give them $500? And I'm like, oh, like, like the buyer's commission is definitely negotiable, but not that much. Like we're talking 10,000 to $500. Like no, like if I was the buyer's agent, I'd be like, come on. But
Yeah, but
Yeah,
at the end, it really is the buyer that is responsible for that commission piece, or for that
this is
compensation.
absolutely true. Absolutely true. And so knowing that, I said, listen, and I'm going to make it more feasible to say, hey, let's not do $500. It's kind of a slap in the face. Let's do something,
yeah.
And so he's just like, well, what if we did 1.5? I was like, all right, fine. 1.5%. Right.
Mhm.
Said fine. And then therefore the buyer has to come up with whatever they agreed upon, which
Yeah.
was 3%, 1.5. The funny thing is we countered that. We ended up at 2% for that buyer's agent. And the buyer's agent tells me, I'm not going to charge my buyer that 1%. That's on him. And
Yeah.
I don't understand why not. you've set forth that path from day one with that buyer to say, hey, we work on contract. I charge 3%. All right, they're only going to pay 2%, so now you're responsible for 1%.
Because it probably
Why
wasn't
not?
communicated. I will guarantee you it wasn't
Hmm,
communicated. And it was
probably.
communicated, oh yeah, I charge 3%, but we're gonna ask for that for the seller. There was no, and by the way, what could happen here is they only come back with 2 or 1%, and then are you prepared to pick up that difference? That's what agents don't want to talk about because it
Yep.
gets them
Here's
then come
here's
to the
how I
table.
say this, Birgit, and I 100% agree with you. I don't ask them if they're okay with paying the difference. I say you're responsible for any difference.
Exactly.
I tell them,
Yeah.
right? So that way it is, this is how it works. All right. We're going to ask that seller to pay all of my commission. If they don't, you're responsible for the rest of it.
And that goes with a good buyer's consultation, I always say. So they have an understanding. It's like it costs money to buy a house. It costs money to buy a house. And
Yes.
as an
Yes.
agent, it is not my responsibility to take that on if you do not have the finances in place to make that purchase. That includes, my compensation. It includes, the appraisal, the inspections, all of the things that's part of it. It's like to create that education. So I'm a big stickler for
Yep.
making
Yeah.
sure that they get that education so they understand.
Yep. And it's just like that, Ian, kind of bringing it back to you too. It's having that conversation. So again, it's hard because you don't have that NAR backing to say, hey, we all do it this way. Because like you
Yeah.
said, that local aspect is going to say, no, it doesn't work. You're a
Yeah.
smart guy. So that's where you have to shift. Hey, and maybe that's a question when you meet these people. Where are you from? And they're from, oh, I'm coming in from France. All right, cool. You'll know that, hey, well, what we're doing here in Spain now, we're having the buyer pay. Or is it somebody local to Alicante to say, all
Yeah.
right, cool.
Exactly.
You know, to say, hey, all right, we're gonna ask the seller. You're gonna have to shift those gears. But who's to say maybe
Yeah.
you could still run your business and say, hey, what we still charge 1% to local residents on the buy side. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas, that, hey, introduce it small because what does that projection go in the next 3, 5, 10 years? You talk about changing Spain as a whole. This is where that trajectory, because if you can get on board, even if it's a 0.5% charge to the buyer, a 0.5%, even 0.25, like
Yeah.
I'm doing, even like 0.25,
Right.
it's something. It's not going to be, mean the world, but you're still going to ask that seller for splitting their commission, and then you're going to make 0.25 extra on top of it. This
Yeah, it's
is
like
going to,
maybe it's a fee for service kind of an idea at this point, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm not doing this for nothing. And right now, because that conversation isn't happening, you're losing all of that versus, yeah, you might lose some because they don't want to do it that way, but you also might say, hey, that makes sense, and
Yeah.
actually work with you on that. It's worth a shot right now, nothing's happening. So you can only win from coming to it with a different approach.
yep,
Exactly. And the craziest thing is as well is the buyers always give like 10 times more work than a seller does
Of
anyway.
course, yes.
It's like,
So why do it for free? I always say liken it to an
exactly.
attorney. An attorney wouldn't do anything for free.
yep.
Exactly.
But we are always the ones that kind of like constantly under the gun, as far
Yeah,
as giving our services for free. And no,
I 100% agree. No, um,
exactly.
we've got to
communicate
let
your
these people
value,
know.
communicate your
Sorry, bro.
value, why you're amazing to work with. And because the value that you give and the services that you give, this is the fee that you're charging for it. And would you like to work with me? Yes, great. No, okay.
Right, and
You
be
already
okay
lost them
with that now.
anyways. If you were going to work with them, you would have done all this work for nothing.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep. I
Exactly.
I saw something on Instagram last night, and it was, reducing your commission as a selling broker, listing broker. Right. No. And I love it because like how it was, it's like I'm going to try to remember how it was because I really like it. If you're in a meeting with somebody and they say, "Hey, well, Johnny over here, he charges 2%, so will you take 2%?" And as a realtor, you say, "Hey, is this a test?" And they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, I just want to know if this is a test or if this is an actual question. And they're like, well, it's an actual question. I'll be like, well, so you want me to, and I've got to work on this part, but I really loved it. Um, it was questioning, they're saying, hey, gosh, I wish I could get it better. Um, how did he put it? To say, oh, I'm struggling here. I can't get it, but I'll look it up and I'll have to send it to you guys because he says he's questioning their biggest sale. And if the agent's willing to negotiate their own finances to get the sale, how is that agent going to be able to negotiate the equity in that person's home?
Yes.
Which is
Yes,
huge,
I've
which
done
is
that before.
absolutely,
Yeah,
and it's like a
yeah,
mic drop moment that
yeah.
it's so spot on. And this is where I want to be better in those instances because could I reduce my commission? Sure. But then I'm not running my business the way that I want it. I'm not following my projections when I do goal planning and business planning saying, "Hey, I need X dollars every year." And, if I only do 15 deals, will that be enough? It could be, but that's if I'm charging 3.5%.
Yeah,
If
it's
I'm
something
charging
like
only 2%, now my finances are down and now my numbers are all off. Right? So
it's
it's a
something like
huge, go
wait,
ahead.
it's something like what kind of negotiator would I be if I negotiated right here? You want me to be fierce negotiator for you, therefore, right? So something
Exactly.
like that. What kind of negotiator would I be if I just agreed to this? That
Right.
would then show
That,
you that I will not be a fierce negotiator for you out in the field, and that's not what you want.
Yep. Yep.
that's
And it's
exactly it.
awesome. I saved it purposely on Instagram. I'll send it to both of you guys. Um, it, it is. You have to stick to your guns, and then just like what Coach was saying, be okay if they say no. And
Yeah.
again, it's a numbers game. Everything we do, if we're not doing business, again, all three of us are guilty of this year. Are we hustling enough to get what we need? I'm going to say no personally for myself.
Oh my
All right.
gosh, I'm gonna say yes. Like,
Okay. All right. Great. No, thank you,
you
Coach.
you know where
So,
I've been a little bit this year, so my answer is like, uh-huh.
yeah, yes, you've been hustling. Now, here's the thing. Go back to the January coach, the January coach B. Okay. Were you hustling enough then?
I think I was surviving that bad. I was
Yep.
surviving
Yep.
then, meaning
Right.
Different,
is
different.
I only had like finite amount of time to put towards the hustle because the rest of it was just truly surviving.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that's kind of where I was. And then over these last however many months, I'm slowly getting time back
Yep.
that then can go back into the hustle 100%.
Yep. And I agree with that because I've seen it. I've seen that path. And that's even like Ian, you and I were talking, well, I think it was yesterday, even about agent attraction to
mhm,
say, um, 30 minutes, something small, right? You don't have to go big. But keep staying consistent. And whether it's 30 minutes on agent attraction, it's 6 hours on listings and 1 hour on buyers, whatever your numbers are, right? You stay true to those to keep your needle moving. And I'm guilty of it too. So that's where it's all a numbers game. And so if I am doing the hustle, and this is why I asked you, Coach, if I am doing the hustle, am I saying the right things? Am I
Right.
getting the results that I should be getting? If I'm not getting the results, now I need to go back and say, am I doing and saying the right things? Am I listening? Am I, where are my gaps? And this is where that collaboration starts coming in, coaching programs, things like this to say, I'm stuck, right? I've noticed that. I told Steve the other day on our agent calls, like I haven't booked a solid appointment. I booked a couple, but I've had a lot more conversations and a lot less booked appointments. So that
right.
tells me something there's a gap in it. Is it my tone? Is it my cadence? Is it the verbiage that I'm using? I don't know, but that's where I'm discovering right now. And that's where you want to look at yourself to say, hey, how am I presenting myself to clients, agents, whoever your focus is? How am I presenting myself? And am I connecting with them? And that's a big mile marker. And then that way you could shift. And especially for you, Ian, looking into July and August, your slower months of the year, you've got to double, triple down and push extremely hard to get those numbers to get your finances back in gear. So that way you come Q3 and you're getting back and you could start focusing on Christmas too, right? And then have a level playing field so you can enjoy solid Christmas with the family.
Yeah, quantity and
Yeah.
quality, right? First quantity, and then if we kick out enough quantity in a sense, but we're still not hitting, or then if we have to look at quality. What is the quality of my conversations? What am I saying? Am I saying the right things that are connecting? Everything that you're saying, Jason, as far as that is concerned, and I evaluate that. Of course, we all evaluate that all the time too. For some reason, I'm connecting better right now with agents, so I am thrilled about that. And I think because I am under less pressure, so I can truly more genuinely connect, and I don't feel so, um, yeah, just I don't feel as stressed out about it in a sense. So I can come about it in a much different way. I invited my first agent to EXPCon who's going to come with me. So let's go for that. And I have big plans. And so the more time I can get back, I'm opening group coaching program to get more of that time back. So that's, the Beehive, and that opened this week. So come in, spend an hour with me every week. It's very it's not cost prohibitive. It's $197 a month to come in to spend time with me four times a month, and then get different kind of things throughout the week. So that too will give me time back that I can then devote more into building web share.
Yep.
Very cool.
And here's what I dig about you. You've put this path to find your way, Birgit. 6 months ago, you were surviving. You said it, right? And look at what you've been able to chip away and then chop away at that tree. And you struggle. And we met in person, and I saw that struggle in your eyes. And I felt for you. And I'm super proud of you of what you've become, because now you're seeing that. You're seeing, hey, if I have this, I can get that.
Right.
And that's it. Now you've got, hey, all right, what do I need to regroup? All right, group training. All right, cool. That'll free me time to get this. So going back, and I love that, Birgit. So I applaud you for, way to see that and staying true to who you are and pushing through, because it's awesome. I'm
Thank you.
I'm doubling down too, and I reached out to my sphere of influence this week and just started sending a text message. Hey, have you guys thought about selling? I've got one, two, three, four, five people, not in the right now, but probably in the next 6 to 12 months that
Awesome.
are serious.
Mhm.
All right.
There you go.
So it's that I've created momentum going into next year already just from a text message. And that was awesome. And I'm like, oh, people want to talk to me. Yay.
Yeah,
Because
and
I'm
that's
used to
the same
talk.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm used to talking to expireds and they're hanging up on me all the time, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to look at, yeah, and this was me. I'm calling expireds and hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up, and I don't have any conversations. I'm now having those 5+ conversations a day with clients and moving the needle. And so now I'm like, oh, I was so dumb 6 months ago. Like, why?
Yeah,
What was I
so
doing?
true. We
Like,
were sad 6 months ago, weren't we?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
we lost
So
such a big contract. Oh my God, I just almost did not think I was going to recover from that. But
I was
and
I
so
I was worried about you, honestly, and that's why I'm super proud of where you are now. Because you stuck with it, you pushed through, and here you are. And so that's where, Ian, just for you too, man. I put it in our text message, a couple times. Don't give up, and I know you won't. But I understand these struggles get tough, and it weighs on your brain. And if anybody can kick stuff, I know you can, because you have such positive energy. You go and you get a run, a workout in, and you get rid of that negative stuff. So stay time on task, stay focused with the things that you continue to do and build, and you just may have to regroup things a little bit, right?
Mhm.
And make it better so that way in your next 6 months, you're a hell of a lot better than you are today.
Yeah, there's no giving up. We are salespeople. We are leaders. We've been through the trenches. We move with things. There might be some ugly tears, not gonna lie. That happens on occasion, but or has happened, but giving up, no way. There is way too much potential. If I look at the United States, 2.1 million real estate agents, can I what is the possibility of somebody not creating something around it? It's crazy to me. So I simply fail to believe that that's not the case. It's just about reaching out to people and getting in touch with them. No.
That's exactly it. And it's going back to what you were talking about, and well, you both spoke about this, but I had it in my own words. I actually put this into a YouTube video once, and it's the one YouTube video that I've done that actually got me some, I wouldn't say hate comments, but some comments that were not positive, which is what I was always used to. And it was a very short video. I was heated, I was in the moment, and I was super motivated, and I just recorded it in my car, waiting for my son to finish tennis. And I specifically spoke about how you're not where you are because of one of two things. And it's either not doing enough or what you're doing is not working. It's one of those two things. There's no other option.
Always them.
That's
Always.
it. It's exactly what you spoke about, Coach. It was trying something out for long enough, and if you find after X amount of time, whatever it may be, it's not working, then obviously it goes to quality, not quantity. It's what you're doing isn't working, so change what you're doing. And that's
Exactly.
I've always had that in my head. Whenever I have these ups and downs, whenever it's on the down, it's always go back to that. It's okay, so am I either not doing enough work or is what I'm doing not working? Which one is it? Because it's going to be one of the two. And picking one of two is a lot easier than picking of one of 100.
Exactly.
So knowing that it's one of those two things is actually a privilege.
Yep.
I love that. Oh, that's a
Yeah.
that's a that's a good takeaway.
Yeah. And that's where I always kind of go with it. It's true that, like Jason said, whenever I'm on a low in that roller coaster of real estate, for me, running is always super helpful. I know that physical exercise helps like biochemically with the brain and chemicals and all the rest of it. It actually physically helps you think clearer. It helps get rid of stress and all the rest of it. But that's what I do. I run and I think, am I doing enough? Or is what I'm doing not working?
Well,
Let's just see what's going on. So
I was
knowing
I
that
was
there's
going
a
to I was go into actions. Like when something isn't working for me, I just go right back to action. Because
yeah.
then the second I do that, then I'm like, okay, it's working again. Right? It's like for me, it is I need to do. If it's not working, gotta do.
Well, the worst thing you can do is when things aren't going right, is completely stop because then it
Mhm.
just gets worse. There's no I can't remember where I learned this from or who I learned this from or whatever. Well, I don't know if it was a book or if it was a conference or if it was like a video or whatever. But they said that you're either growing or you're dying. There's not like a plateau. There's no in between.
Mhm.
So it's either you're working and moving towards where you need to go, or you've stopped. And if you stop, you're not plateauing. If you stop, you're actually going backwards.
Exactly.
And that
Yeah.
and that's dying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was always something I've always going to action, I think, is the
You know,
only
it
way.
it puts me back in control. And that makes me, puts me right back in a place where I say, you know what, you're always a choice. You're always a choice. There's always something that you control, but
Yeah.
you have to come back and take control of it. And so for me, going to action just makes me feel all the way around, better and gives me that control back.
Yeah, that's it. I spoke with Jason about this a bunch. It's not um you don't get motivated to take action, you take action to get motivated.
Mhm.
It's the other way around. Most people think that you first need to motivate yourself somehow externally to then get to work. It's like, no, you get to work, you see a little bit of progress, and that motivates you more than anything else in
Mhm.
the world can. And that's where you that's
100%.
where you make more moves. Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, great stuff today, guys, and I hope more agents can watch this and learn from it and grow. And I know we continue to grow too. And that's why I love this stuff, that we could talk and share our stories and help each other out, because we all need it. We
Mhm.
always do, you know. So hugs
Absolutely.
to everybody.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Just
Hey,
be nice. It'd just be nice to be like you, Jason, Ian, and I, like we all can have coffee and commiserate, like you and I sometimes get to do. So that's I think the only piece that's missing in that little, triangle that we have going here.
Yep. Our coffee's coming. Ian and I are having coffee next year. And beers.
yeah,
And beers.
coffee. Yeah, I don't know about coffee, but yeah, we'll have plenty of beers.
He's going to invite you to beers and forget about that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm starting at 10 a.m.
But
Whether you're there or
there's
not.
also
Let's
these
go.
there's yeah, I can
That
do that.
that
The
podcast is going to be a mess.
that European in me hears you on that. It's like it's never
We'll
true.
do we'll do a live from Alicante, and yeah, we'll bring in Coach, and we'll have our
It's gonna be
shirts
a mess.
off, and yeah, it'll be a mess.
It's gonna be a mess. Yeah,
I
sunburned
can't wait.
skin and just yeah.
I can't wait. It's going to be the highest rated Champions podcast ever.
Yeah, like ever. Exactly.
Yeah.
Ah, mark my words, that day's coming.
Every time I'm on one of these calls and Coach B's here, we somehow end up talking about beer every single time. It's crazy.
I did not bring it up this time around. You brought it up. Wait, who brought?
Yeah.
I did not. Mm-mm.
I don't know. I don't care. But it always happens. I'm
But
not
I'm
complaining.
okay. I'm okay with owning it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's part of our culture. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a food group. It's actually in our food pyramid if you look at it.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but yeah, I'll take
It's
it.
true.
Yeah,
It's
I'll buy it.
it's part of our food group, so it's just part of us.
Oh, that's cool.
I love
Yeah.
it. All right, guys. Well, let's get out of here and go have an amazing day. Ian, enjoy summer break here and stay focused.
Yep.
Coach, keep being a rock star, keep motivating others and helping them find their path too. She's been doing great with a lot of our newer agents. They've got
Thanks, Dean.
listing contracts and buyers agreements and purchase agreements going on right now. So we're seeing that activity, what you said, Ian, is leading into that momentum, and now they're getting a taste of it, all thanks to Coach. So it's huge. So you guys just keep doing your stuff.
Yeah, and
We
reach
follow
out,
this.
you're not on an
It,
island. So if you need anything, I mean, I know you
Exactly.
find Jason, but consider me as a resource for yourself or for your agents or whatnot. Just reach out.
Yes.
so long, everybody.
All right.
Okay, you guys take care. Bye.
You too. Take care.
You should just ask, just stay. Just ask, just stay. You should just ask, just stay. Just ask, just stay. You should just ask, just stay.